Hi everyone, and happy Friday. Today we are going to be doing your sunscreen and skin cancer lab that I've mentioned earlier this week. So this is a lab we would normally do in school. However, even if we were in school today together, we wouldn't be able to share materials to do this lab. So this is the next best thing for us. You'll need to open this assignment here. And that is going to link you to a Google Slides file that you see right here. So you have your notebook for the lab. And then there's different parts to the lab. So you can add your name right here on the front of your lab book. And then everything is set up so that you can just kind of click through. Okay. So for sunscreen, we've talked about that using sunscreen is the best way when you're outside to help prevent getting skin cancer. Skin cancer is one of the more preventable cancers, so it's important that we take that extra time, apply sunscreen, wear protective clothing, and stay out of the sun when possible. So there's going to be some background for you to do. You can see that there's three background tabs for you to complete. There's a reading on the left, and then you have some questions to answer. The answers to these 4 questions are found directly in this reading, so you don't need to look elsewhere. In fact, I'm looking for the information from this specific lab. There are varying answers out there, but in order to get full credit, I would like you to use the information that's here in the lab for you. So you'll answer those 4 questions. So that background is on skin cancer, some statistics and things like that. Our background part 2 is looking at the types of skin cancer, which we talked about earlier this week on Tuesday. So you have a little intro here and then some information about each of the types of skin cancer. You have 2 questions to answer. Again, the answers to these questions are found directly on that page. On your next page in your lab notebook, you have background about sunscreen. And again, with these 4 questions, the answers should be coming right from this reading for you. Once you get the background information out of the way, then you're going to need to look at the procedure of your lab. Okay, so we've got the materials listed here. We would be using some UV sensitive paper, which will change color if exposed to UV light. We would have a transparency page where we would apply different sunscreens. And right here, there is a video for you to watch of the lab being done. So it's easier for you to tell rather than just reading through the procedure, which you should still do. So you'll read through the procedure, but also you can click here to watch a video of the lab procedure itself to see how this would be done. For me, it's always easier to see something done than just reading about it. So that's there for you as well. Here we have the data. So these would be the results of the lab. This UV sensitive paper is blue wherever it was exposed to UV light. And it's going to be white where the UV light was blocked from reaching the paper. So essentially, the more white the paper is, the more UV light was blocked from the paper there. You have this data table to fill out based on the results you see here. This was an example of the lab after we did it last school year. So you'll use those actual results to complete your data table. And then you're going to need to do a data analysis. There are 4 questions. Based on the data, you should be answering these particular questions, those 4. And then you have this last part, which is applying what you've learned from the lab. So you are assuming the role as an intern, going into the field of dermatology, looking at skin. Those are doctors that treat the skin. And you have 2 patients that come in to your dermatology clinic that you are interning at. And for each one, you need to, now we've talked about the ABCDE rule. However, the chart I have here just has ABCD, since we can't tell if these skin lesions have changed over time by just looking at those pictures. So that's why that's left out for you. For each of your 2 patients, you have a little bit of background information here. And then you have 2 questions to answer. Those 2 questions are right here on the left side. So one is you're going to look at the skin lesion after you read the background about the patient and say, is there a possibility the mole is cancerous? Why or why not? So that's your answer for number 1. And then for number 2, what would be your advice for the patient? So should they just continue and make sure they're following proper skincare while they're in the sun. Should they have it removed? That kind of thing. And then you'll do the same thing for patient 2. Again, there's a background. You have an image. And then you'll answer those same 2 questions. When you are finished that, you're going to need to submit your lab to me, and that will be it for today. If you have questions for doing anything with the lab, please don't hesitate to let me know. And we'll see you guys next week when we are back in school. Have a great weekend.